Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Traffic Commission hearing of September 23rd to order. Members present are City Planner Frank Stringy, City Engineer Nick Rystrom, Chief of the Fire Chris Bright, and myself, Paul Agenzio, Superintendent of Public Works. Dave Callahan, the Chief of Police, will be here momentarily. If you could join me in a salute to the flag. We're going to start with the public hearings. We're going to start off with number 2, the residents of 420 Revere Beach Boulevard, which is the Jack Satter House, coming to speak about resident permit parking. So we have good news for the residents of Jack Satter. We've looked through the ordinance, and you are listed under Schedule F, which provides for one resident sticker parking per unit, as long as your car is registered in Revere. So you will be afforded the opportunity to receive a permit, 1 per unit. You are also afforded the opportunity to apply for 1 visitor permit per unit. And there is a stipulation in our ordinance for caregiver parking, which that can also be applied for. So speaking with the traffic commissioner, Zachary, if you want to talk, please, and let the residents know what they need to do to obtain this permit.
Hi, my name is Zach Babo, 281 Broadway, Revere, Mass. So we dissected the ordinance, looked really deeply into it, ended up finding out that the Satter House residents are entitled.
Okay.
We did dissect the ordinance, looked into it, just found out that Jack Satter House residents are entitled to 1 permit, 1 visitor pass per unit. One of the developments I had today, talking with Mike Nelson, Chief Ranger, and Adam Parr, that Oak Island Street is actually a DCR-owned street, similar to Broad Sound. We do currently enforce, we enable our operations, but they reserve the right to take over this street if they see fit going forward. So as of right now, we will make these changes. We will support the Jack Satter House residents with their permits, but this isn't a guaranteed thing in the future. If DCR were to take over this area, the enforcement will be done by them and handled by them.
Okay, thank you. Do they have any resident parking provision on Oak Island Street now, or that's something that could come in the future and we'd have to deal with it then?
All the rules and regulations are held by us and operated by us currently.
Right.
But there is no discussion right now for them to take control of the street in the immediate future, but they did say they are reserving the right to hold this conversation later.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak with any questions that you may have from? Please state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Kena. I live at Jack Satter House.
Just press on, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Kena. I live at the Jack Satter House, 420 Revere Beach Boulevard. I thank you for reviewing 46 pages of the ordinance, and I thank everyone for looking at it for that reason. This will help us immensely. I just wanted to clarify something so that the residents will be aware of this. Will this apply to residents who do not own a car, therefore no license, no registration? I mean, this is really the elderly that would need the visitor passes, the really sick people. So I want to make sure that they're eligible for this also.
Yes, you do not need to own a car to apply for a visitor
Okay, I just
permit.
wanted to make certain so we can tell them exactly what the problem, what things are going on. Also, the idea, the question about Oak Island Street and just having the visitor passes and the parking passes limited to Oak Island Street, that would put a strain on Oak Island Street.
No,
So if it was...
It also applies to the adjacent streets.
The adjacent streets, okay, because I was told that it was just Oak Island Street, so we can park on Arcadia and the visitors, okay, that is perfect, that is a mega, thank you
Okay.
for that, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all the counselors that supported us, and as I had, everyone else in here that supported us. Thank you very much.
Sure. Anyone else have any questions? Name and address when you approach. Put the mic on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Roxanne Aiello, 420 Revere Beach Boulevard. Maybe I misunderstood. Did he say that Oak Island Street was under the jurisdiction of DCR?
Yes, it is. We
Okay.
hold the right...
Since when? When would that have taken place?
It's always been like that. They have not paid too much attention to it, really, but they did recently take back over Broad Sound Avenue for the street sweeping and parking.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, you know, they may come
Well-
before us and...
The reason why I'm asking you is I've been in Revere all my life. In Oak Island Street, I once questioned that to the fact if that was city or state, and was told that that is certainly a city street. That's why I'm wondering, when did it all change from DCI? So you're saying now that with the visitor pass that we will get,
You'll
if I
get a
heard
visitor
correctly,
pass,
we will
one
get
per-
one and buy one, is that correct?
You'll get
Did
a
you-
visitor pass per unit, free.
Okay, all righty. So they can park, all right. Well,
Okay. Yeah.
I thought he said you can get one.
So
and
is
buy
it
one.
free or is it...
Nobody knows.
Okay. All right, we'll get there. Fee schedule. No charge. Excuse me, I misspoke. A visitor placard will cost $10.
You buy one, and then one you're going to get free of charge?
You get a resident sticker. If you
A
own a
resident for the
car, you
city
get
of
that
Revere.
free.
For the city of Revere to park anywhere in the city of Revere?
You
The
have it.
resident sticker?
You. Right.
All right, that doesn't do me any justice, anything to me, because I have a spot in the parking lot. What
Okay.
I'm asking is,
Right.
okay. Okay, so, all right. So now we can't park, if you have a visitor, they can't park on Oak Island Street, but they can park on the adjacent street? Is
Yes,
that what you're saying?
they can park on Oak Island Street.
Oh, no, excuse me? Oh, they can park overnight. What about overnight? Overnight, and, oh, they can with the visitor pass. Oh, I thought he said they couldn't. Okay. And also, let me ask you a question. Can they park on the beach, but in front of our building, in front of our building with that visitor pass?
No, that's DCR road.
Well, I mean, because they can park overnight where the meters are, because they show you after 10 o'clock at night. That's our DCR. So now DCR has Oak Island Street too. Okay. Okay, all right.
I think you'll be all set. You can get a permit, park any place you want, get a visitor permit. They can park
And
where
what do
they
we do?
want.
Just come up to the post office area, to the office there?
Yep.
And show our license or registration where we live?
Yes,
And we can do that as of when? When is that effective?
right now.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay.
Anyone else wish? Go, come right up. Oh, sorry. You need to.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi, my
Hi.
name is Henrietta Ruggio. I live at the Point of Pines, One Cary Circle.
Yes.
And I have not been able to get a visitor permit parking, so though I've talked to everybody. And I have two daughters who live out of state, and when they come, you know, and I'm expecting them in a couple weeks, and it's, I don't know what else to do. I have called people. I mean, we've owned a unit for 10 years, and I don't understand why I can't get a visitor.
So the address is 1 Cary Circle?
Correct. I'm on Unit 402.
I don't see 1 Cary. You wanna click on- I don't see Cary Circle. Sure, you can, want to spread some, Are you familiar with Carey Circle, 1 Carey Circle?
Cary Circle is, no, Elliott Circle to Revere Street is metered parking both sides of the
Right.
boulevard, only resident parking on Ocean Ave. From Revere Street down to Cary Circle, on the Ocean side, they will be removing those meters October 15th. DCR will. They will be posting 4-hour parking signs on that side of the boulevard. The residential parking side will still be in effect. And the thing about the visitor passes, I spoke with DCR, they do not recognize our visitor passes. If our visitor pass is displayed on a vehicle on the residential side, they will issue a ticket. They will only recognize the beach passes. And I had the discussion, if we do approve visitor passes for the boulevard, it still needs to go in front of the DCR commissioner before we can actually facilitate that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And 1 Carey Circle is on the list that is not eligible for resident parking because there was
So-
supposed to be ample parking for,
There is no, I guess at one point, there was ample parking. Right now, there is no visitor parking in our parking lot. So if you have people staying overnight, there is absolutely no parking. I mean, there's got to be a way to solve this.
okay. Have you talked to the management of the building at all? or-
Yes, I have, and they said to go through this process, which I have.
There's no visitor parking
There
at
is
1
no
Carey
visitor
Circle.
parking.
How many spots do you get per unit?
One.
1. Well, if you want to have, come before the traffic commission, and we'll put that in as a motion. Right. Right. Yeah. Right.
Sorry? To the left is Lynn.
The Linway, that's also a DCR road.
On a side street, I imagine.
Yeah.
So,
Right, that's Pines Road. Goodwin. Goodwin, or Chamberlain. Yeah. So if you want to email Sergeant Janino, we can consider that at the next traffic commission meeting. Then we'd be pushing those cars into the Pines then. They have 24/7 resident parking there.
I don't Well, as I said, my daughters just come for 2-3 days. I mean, so I just need to have them park someplace when they stay overnight, and you can't park on the meters, as we all know, so I need,
So maybe talk to Mr. Babo,
Okay.
and then he might be able to help you with a temporary pass in that case.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
my name is Albert Fiore. I reside at 350 Revere Beach Boulevard. I want to commend the commission for looking out for the Jack Satter House residents. It's been a long year and a half for these folks. They were locked in for 9 weeks. Okay, it's been a long year and a half. They were locked in for 9 weeks and had parking meters rammed down their throats, which I understand is not in the purview of this commission. Resident sticker parking was given to all these out-of-town developers that built these buildings along Revere Beach, and it's just unconscionable and has nothing to do with this commission, that they have to fight for this. Now, the gentleman, Zach, that represents the mayor and the members of the council on the parking department had indicated that they're going to rip meters out, and he had told me prior to that they were going to rip them out until April and put them back in. So again, more and more, and is that correct? They're going to take the meters out in October and put them back in April? So the gentleman indicates that's correct. And to me, it's just more and more charades. I mean, we need to get this right. And to say that we're going to push parking into the Point of Pines, I mean, if we can spell it out with respect to the other buildings on Revere Beach Boulevard, are these buildings eligible for parking passes?
No, they're not.
They're not.
Right, they were built with the expectation that they had enough parking for their residents.
Okay. It's concerning that these actions and inactions over a long period of time have led to this type of problem for the people of this community, the beachfront, the Point of Pines, Oak Island, et cetera. So again, I thank you for what you've done tonight to provide for the Jack Satter House residents. I have great confidence in the chief, all of you here, because I've known most of you a long time, the sergeant, that you'll enforce this to the best of your ability, but we're still a long way to go. And what's very, very disappointing is the political charade of moving parking meters. How do you take them out in October, put them back in April? So again, it's very frustrating on that front. I think we have a lot of work left to do, and I look forward to being a part of it. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good afternoon. First of all, it's my understanding we're giving visitor passes to anyone that lives in the Jack Satter House. Am I correct?
One pass per unit.
Okay. And I think we should also make them aware that there's going to be no charge for those passes.
There's the resident sticker for your car is free. The visitor pass is $10, like consistent with the rest of the city.
Where is Zach? The visitor passes are going to be free.
Our visitor passes are free for anyone over the age of 65. It's every other type of pass. Our healthcare pass, special caretaker pass, no matter of age, there's a fee assessed to that as $10. But if it is a visitor pass and you are over the age of 65 applying for it, you will get that for free.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that includes everybody that's a resident of the Jack Satter House, am I correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Unless they're 64.
I've heard the word shenanigans passed around here tonight. And I want to just make one statement, because this affects every resident of Revere Beach Boulevard, really, on the northern end. I heard about the parking meters, and that's been brought up tonight, going into effect. I heard this back in December. I got a call from people in Boston. I went down there, and since that day, I have advocated 100% against parking meters on the residential side of the boulevard. And guess what? You don't have the parking meters down there now. So you can thank Mayor Arrigo and myself for making that happen.
Okay,
Excuse me, may I finish speaking, ma'am? So we're all in agreement tonight, right? Visitor passes for residents of the Jack Satter House. It can be used on Oak Island Street and the adjacent streets.
correct.
No charge, am I correct?
If you're over 65, no charge for a visitor
Okay,
pass.
that works for me, and I'm sure it works for the residents. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak? You want this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission, Jerry Visconti, City Councilor, 29 Case Drive. While I'm not a big fan of changing ordinances, I think this is definitely one that we needed to revisit and make some adjustments to. So I'm definitely in favor of it. The city council was in favor of it, so I think it's much needed after everything the people at the Jack Satter House has gone through. So I want to speak in favor of this change. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak or have any questions? Go right ahead.
Hi, Janice Gilman, Jack Satter House. Yes, I'm just so confusing because we can't really hear too much over here.
Okay.
So we hear one thing and we think it's another.
Sure, so
Okay.
I'll run it over. Okay.
Can I just verify
Sure.
this and say no or yes? Okay, so now over 65, we can get a free visitor pass.
Correct.
And this visitor pass, they can park on Oak Island Street?
Yes.
And adjacent, and why did he say that that's DCR and won't be able to?
The DCR has jurisdiction over that road, but at this time, they are having the city enforce it the way they want. In the
Okay.
future, they're just
They may
retaining their right.
repute it, they may
They-
repute
right,
it in
right,
otherwise,
but I don't
right?
see that happening, and at this point, I wouldn't worry about that happening.
Okay, because it was awful, because my son lived on Ocean Ave, and I couldn't even take my car to Ocean Ave.
Right, oh, I know.
Until I got my Revere sticker, and then it was okay.
So a lot of the things that the Traffic Commission is doing was trying to help the residents with this meter problem on Revere Beach Boulevard, 24/7 resident parking in the Pines, 24/7 resident parking in Oak Island. We'll be bringing up the rest of the Point of Pines in a few minutes. So we've been trying to help the residents deal with this DCR situation.
Right.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Oh, it's okay.
Okay,
I mean,
if
I
you can go-
appreciate it. We do.
what
Oh,
other
my God,
questions
you
do-
don't realize how frustrating it was, really. I mean, you can't have family, and it was awful. Especially an emergency, when someone's in a hospital.
Right.
And they needed somebody to come and stay with them overnight. You couldn't. You were afraid to get towed or ticketed.
no? Okay, and what other, no, you're going to get a free parking sticker if you have a car registered in Revere,
Right.
free visitor pass per unit if
And
you're
you
over
don't, but the
65.
free visitor pass, you don't have to have a car, you said.
No, you do not. You can still
Right.
apply for it if
Okay,
you have
I
a family
understand
member
that.
coming over.
Okay.
All right.
And I did have one more question, of course, now that I'm up here. I
Okay.
forgot what it was. And it had to do with the parking. And that's overnight?
Yes,
Okay.
Positively.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
okay, you're welcome. All good stuff. All right.
Good evening, Catherine Penn, 382 Ocean Avenue, lifelong resident. To begin with, Revere is the first public beach in the country. That was determined, believe it or not, many years ago by my husband. And I am positively against meters being on a public beach, period, the end. And I think
Okay.
they're being taken out now because I know they're seasonal, but I don't want to see them back. I really think that you have time now. I know DCR is stubborn and they probably won't do it, but I think we need to try to negotiate to get rid of the meters. Take them out, no meters. I think it'll solve a lot of
Okay.
problems.
Thank you.
It will solve a lot of problems.
Unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction there, but we
I understand
hear
that.
you and we feel your pain.
But we could try to negotiate, if we can, with the state to get rid of them. It's a public beach, and that's the way it should stay. Charging people, families, $5 for take their family to the beach. Unheard of, really. And I know they do it in other places, but I don't want to see it for Revere. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Penn. Anyone else wishing to speak?
George Rotundo, 90 Holden Street, Revere City Council. I just want to thank you for your work on this issue. It's affected many people. More importantly, I want to thank Sergeant Janino for his help in this effort and answering my call while he was away. I appreciate that. I'm just happy that we can help as many people as we can. Unfortunately, I think the parking meters are going to remain there, and the DCR is going to do what the DCR is going to do. Hopefully, our state delegation can, not that I'm looking at anybody in particular, Chris, can affect some change on the beach, utilizing some of that money to put maybe a dog park or maybe help some of the seniors in that area, because quite frankly, the money is just basically going back to the general fund of the state and doing nothing for the people of Revere, who is greatly affected by these meters. But that said, I want to thank you, gentlemen. Please excuse my attire. I just got back from the doctor's myself, but I appreciate your effort and thank you for your time.
You're welcome. All right, if there aren't any other further questions, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you. The next public hearing is for various amendments to the following streets located on the riverside of the Pines. Schedule 8 of Title 10, Parking Restrictions Generally, is hereby amended by removing the no parking on both sides restriction for all streets on the riverside, excluding Mills Avenue, and provide for the parking on one side of those streets. The side of the streets to be designated as no parking will be determined by the Traffic Commission. The second element of this would be the resident parking streets 24-hour enforcement is hereby amended by adding all streets on the riverside, excluding Mills Avenue. The side of the street to be designated as 24/7 resident parking will be determined by the Traffic Commission. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of putting the riverside as 24/7? Please state your name and address.
Hi, good evening, all. I've been a resident, Ricky LaCentra, 30 John Avenue. I've been a resident for 67 years in the Riverside, and I fully support the 24/7
Okay.
amendment. I just had one quick question, like a clarification. The Riverside is not congested like other areas of the city, so why is it determined that you wanted to only have parking on one side?
That was a public safety concern.
Right now, as it stands, the ordinance states parking on neither side. So we're trying to make it fair for the residents to give them one side of
Right.
parking now, instead of no parking at all.
Right. Right now, there's no parking at all on the riverside.
Right.
For some reason, so, and the.
No, I know, you don't enforce it, but I understand.
Yep. Yeah, it was a public safety concern by the fire department.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a
You're
good night.
welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the 24/7?
Once again, good afternoon. I've been approached by members of the Riverside neighborhood, and they want 724 resident parking down there. My only question is, our consideration rather, would be that the public safety, meaning the fire chief and Sergeant Giannino, make sure that it's not impaired by the resident parking. That's not for me to decide, that's for the Traffic Commission and Public Safety to decide. So as far as the resident parking, I'm in favor of it. And it's, at some point, we're going to be owning the boatyard. And that's going to cut down on a lot of the traffic down there. And I think that's going to happen very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of 24/7 parking on the riverside of the Pines? Hearing none. Anyone opposed to this? Oh, excuse me.
Councilor George Rotundo, 9 Dahone Street. I am in favor of this.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone opposed to this change? Hearing and seeing none, do I have a... Now, I had spoken to Sergeant Giannino and get the input of the rest of the commission here. We were thinking to make no parking on the southerly side, so as you come down the highway and you take that right you know, it'll be easier, especially for a fire apparatus. Yes. And then the north side would be the 24/7 parking. Okay? All right. So do I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve. Seconded.
Second, all in favor? Okay, all set. I believe that ends the public hearings. We are now into the request stage. I was going to move on to number 8. The businesses along Naples Road would like to address the Traffic Commission in regards to the fire lane that was recently installed. Do we have anybody here that wishes to speak on that?
Well, Paul, I got a folder here from all the businesses down there.
Yeah.
Signed petitions.
Right.
They just want us to relook at it again
Okay,
and have a public hearing at the next meeting
okay.
to speak on it.
So when you say all the business, how many businesses are?
I have 1, 2, resident,
Okay,
3, Naples Road 4,
okay.
5, 6.
I didn't think there was that many businesses.
I got it. Oh, it's everyone on the street, including the hotel.
Oh, okay,
They'd like to have the public hearing on
Okay.
the next meeting.
all right. Sir, do you wish to speak? Your name and address, please?
Hi, my name's Ken LaFosse. I own Brothers Auto Body at 16 Naples Road.
Okay,
And they put park lanes on both sides of the street. That's a burden. We can't park, we can't do anything. I own a 3-family house on Naples Road, you know, the lot on Naples Road. And they just took all the parking away from everything.
okay,
They have no parking at all, and
Okay.
we're never notified.
okay, so, very good. So now, the fire lane that was, the signs that were posted, were they posted on both sides or just one?
They did it on one side now. They were doing it on both sides, but he said we had to appeal it, and
Okay,
we're trying to figure it out, but, I mean, it's a burden. There's no sense of, there's no houses there. There's only one house in the whole street.
okay,
And there's nothing there. At night, there's no cars in the street, and, you know, you can see up the top of the street where the hill goes up there, you can have no parking there. You know,
Okay.
that's a little narrow, but the rest of the street, I've been there for 35 years and never had a problem.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, they just came and put fire lanes for no reason.
well, there was reasoning. We had input from the fire department and what have you, and went before the council, and it did come before us, and it was advertised. But we can certainly look at it again in concern for these residents and yourself, and we'll certainly be happy to reconsider.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak?
Judge Rotundo, 90 Holden Street. There was limited parking down there for his house for over 35 years. And now both sides are, my understanding, and correct me please, are now
Well,
a fire lane.
we did pass.
Right.
For both sides, we've only,
So what conditions,
signs up.
so my question is, what condition changed in the sense of need of access over the last 6 months to a year that didn't pertain 35 years ago? Because right now, this man is effectively locked out of his house. He
Right.
can't park, you know, in front of his house, which before he could for 35 years.
are you asking our reasoning originally?
Yeah.
to-
That's.
Right, so this was a Counselor Guanasso, I believe, from Ward
Right.
3, brought this before the city council, and it was sent to us, and we had some input from the fire department.
Right.
Saying that apparatus, it was almost impossible for them to get down the street with cars on both sides.
But you could get down the other side by the tanning salon, or for that matter, the other side by Mass Auto Body. There's both
Well-
ways to approach a fire from there, as well as, in fact, the length of the street. If you take a look at the width of it, for example, if you're on the highway, you could reach it, but more importantly, there's other avenues of access as well that haven't changed in the past 35 years. So my question is from a technical point of view, and from a geography point of view. I mean, how did this change take place, and why was it required? I mean, is there something new down there that happened? Because, I mean, I drove by there today, and you've got the oil, what do you call it, changing company there. You've got the tanning company there. You can still do the roundabout in there. You can still get through there. Before, it used to be the car washes, now the hotel. You've got several car lots that are to the left, and then his house is on the right-hand side.
Okay.
He's got no place to park now.
So we will certainly,
That would be
are
like
going
if
to
I just went up
reconsider.
to, I mean, I love you guys, but it's just like if I went up to your house and said, okay, you can't park there no more after 35 years.
Okay,
Thank you.
we will
Sorry.
certainly reconsider.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't know this was on the agenda, but this is a motion that was presented by Mr. Guanasso, Mr. Zambudo, and myself in terms of cleaning up that area. Okay, that area has been nothing but a disaster, okay, and let's call a spade, okay? People have been parking all over the place. One way to clean up that area was to put those fire lanes put there. So they weren't abiding by the rules. We were having difficulty getting fire trucks down that lane when both sides were being taken. So that's the reason why, okay, this was put in place. It was because of the negligence, okay, that people down in that area were parking, and they weren't, they had no care of the safety of that area. So that's why the city council, myself, as well as Councilor Guanasso and Zambudo put this in place. And I want to thank you and the commission for actually enforcing that, because I believe now it cleaned it up a little bit. And I think it's better for that area that it was put in place. And I don't know about that house. Okay, I'm not sure if it has a driveway. I don't know what the situation is with that particular spot, but there was reasons why that these the fire lanes were put in place. And like I said, I'm here. I want to address it because I was put on that motion, and I have no problem standing behind that motion.
Okay, well, this will, I assume, be moved to a public hearing, and we can hash this all
Right.
out, and we can, thank you very much, Counselor. Just press your,
I'm here on
your
behalf
name,
of
your
Louise.
name and your address.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I am a resident of 1045 Broadway.
Okay.
But my dad is the owner of 26 Naples,
Okay,
Luigi Ciccone. And because of this whole fire lane suggestion, we've lost a lot of employees because we
Okay.
don't have anybody, obviously, where they can't park anywhere.
okay,
There's absolutely no parking anywhere. Every time that they do park, ticket tow. These
Okay.
are our employees. We live off of people working for us. I've lived at 1045 for 20 years, never had a problem. Fire trucks have gone down that road. I don't know if anybody who's moved in recently maybe have complained. Obviously, there's a few questions about that, but we are just against it. If you guys want to do it on one side, that's fine, but I feel like both sides is just like, it's just taking over
Okay.
parking for everybody on that street.
thank you very much for your comments. We will be moving this to a public hearing, so, and you'll see that advertised, and you can certainly come, and we'll hear both sides and make a decision.
Just for the record, we
Yes?
do get several phone calls on that area, as far as the whole circle down there,
Yes?
as far as cars blocking pedestrian traffic.
Okay,
It's not just something that's come up overnight. It's been
Okay.
going on for a long time. And I have been down with the cruiser trying to get through.
Yeah.
And I have been stuck behind trucks trying to unload.
okay,
So I mean, as far as two-sided, maybe too much, but at least one-sided should be no parking down there.
Okay.
In my opinion, for safety of everyone.
Mr. Chairman, motion to move to a public hearing.
second?
Second.
Second, thank you. We'll move this to a public hearing, and everyone will be able to come up and voice their opinion. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's see. Oh, you're welcome. Let's see. Number one, Councilor McKenna requests that the Traffic Commission amend Schedule 9 of Title 10, Resident Parking Streets, 24 our enforcement by adding Cross Street the entire length. Counselor?
Thank you. Joanne McKenna, 830 Winthrop Ave, Ward 1 Counselor. What's happening up off of Broad Street in Crest is we're having, and I talked to Callahan, Chief Callahan about it, we're getting people, because there's no residential parking, we're getting people that are parking overnight and a lot of drug activities. So I'm trying to get that street to be 24/7. I'd also like to put, if we can, amend a request in for Mount Vernon Ave.
To do the same thing?
Yeah,
24/7.
please, because what's happening is people are parking there, and they're going into the train stations. So the residents are inundated with cars.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you very much.
Do I hear a motion to move this to a public hearing?
Motion to move to public hearing.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Move that to a public hearing. Let's see. I see that Julie DeMauro is here. Oh, is that, okay. Which is that two, number 2? Oh, that the mayor requests the Traffic Commission to designate 4 24-hour resident-only parking spaces in the Central Ave Municipal parking lot for the residents of Oscella Court and Central Avenue rear. The Traffic Commission overlooked the residents living on these streets when metered parking was established in the Central Avenue Municipal parking lot. Counselor?
Thank you. Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Counselor. I have a very sick woman on Oscella Court. She's 90 years old. Her daughter comes every day to take care of her. I think they have a one-spaced driveway, but I also have a resident on Central Ave rear that abuts the parking lot. So both streets, both addresses are abutting that parking lot. And the entranceway to get in to their houses is their parking lot. So I'm just asking for 4 spaces to give the residents, so they don't have to, I know there's meter parking, and everybody says, well, after 8 o'clock, they can park for nothing. But what about the daytime? They have people coming over, they have to pay for the meters. I think it's, we should take care of our own. They live there, they've put up with that parking lot for years, and I'm just looking for 4 parking spaces without meters so they can park there. The residents.
Okay, or some sort of a pass developed
Some sort
at
of a
the...
pass, yes, like maybe a sign that says just for Oscella and, Central Ave rear, residents only, something like that. So no one else will take advantage of it.
Okay.
So.
Do I hear a motion to move this to a public hearing?
So moved.
So moved.
Yes.
Second. Thank you. We'll move this to a public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I'm just here to support my colleague, Councilor McKenna, on this motion. I think it's a quality of life issue regarding those property owners that haven't had to deal with that in the past 30-odd years or whenever they've owned it. And now that, we install meters, which people, I think is something that is a change that is come about, and I think it's affecting the residents there. So I'm in favor of the whatever type of compromise the commission would agree to. So thank you.
Thank you. Oops.
Albert Fiore, 350 Revere Beach Boulevard. I support the request by Councilor McKenna to provide passes. As she says, take care of your own, take care of the people of Oscella Court. And frankly, those meters in the municipal lot should be removed. They never should have been there. And enough is enough, taxing, fining, and fees on the people of this community to fund a bloated budget. So again, same thing with the parking meters on the beach. The city was asleep at the switch. Now they're going to temporarily remove those from October to April. Another charade. But this one, should never have happened. The city has sole responsibility. Parking meters shouldn't be there, and we should take care of our residents. Enough is enough.
Thank you. Okay, so we've moved this to a public hearing. We shall move on. Number 6, Julie DeMauro requests that the Traffic Commission amend Schedule 8, parking restrictions generally, by adding 843 Broadway, 1-hour parking.
Good afternoon, Julie DeMauro, the Office of Planning and Community Development. This request actually came out of the work that we did for the Small Business Technical Assistance Program. The office supplied loans to restaurants, 15 restaurants. Some of them are in the Broadway district. This request for a 1-hour parking spot is in front of the B&M Grill. They took the restaurant over in the middle of COVID. They are trying to sustain themselves during this difficult time. But what they have noticed is that the garage next door on the opposite side of Broadway and Folsom is parking one of their trucks there, and they're leaving the truck there all day. So it's limiting parking for patrons that want to visit the restaurant. They'll drive around, they can't find a spot, and the customers are actually complaining to the owners that they can't find a place to
Okay,
park.
is there a parking meter there?
There is not a parking meter there. It's 26 feet from curb to curb. So there's plenty of space to put the spot in. So we're just asking for one spot that's designated as 1-hour parking with enforcement. And this is basically for the time of general business hours, 8 to 5. I believe they're not open at night just yet, but I know that the garage is closed at that time. And in addition to that, there's also some kind of tug-of-war going on Folsom Street. The parking on both sides between the businesses. And I know there's been some remedies to try to correct that, but this gentleman that owns the B&M Grill, you know, he is kind of caught in the middle of that too. So we wanted to see if we can give him a 1-hour parking spot. I'm just asking for a request for a public hearing on that.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to move to a public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor? Okay. And the second item?
The second item on the agenda is that the MBTA has rerouted the 411 bus route. They have made accommodations to the route that will make the route shorter, speeding up the reliability and the efficiency of the route overall from Revere Beach all the way into Malden. That's one of their longest routes. With that, they are going to be not so much eliminating stops, but they are going to be moving some stops. There's some stops, they're going to be pushed a little further away, or they're combining stops with the 116 bus route. The listing here, the top, it tells you the route, the stops that are actually going to be removed, but then they will also be serviced. So riders at these stops that are, I think there's 6, 7 of them that they're looking to remove, can be serviced at the following stops below. So they just have to walk a little further, but not that much further. And the T is just asking for a request for public hearing. That's basically what we had told them that they would need to do with any changes in the bus stops or bus routes or anything like that with us. So this is just a request for a public hearing to make these stops and record them into our ordinance as Chris has suggested in the past.
Okay, so, I mean, I have several questions about it, but we should probably save that for the public hearing.
And I can forward to you, I know I think, Paul, you were on the original email about the proposed Route 411 changes. There really were not anything glaring. This was based off of the Better Bus study that they did back in 2018. So these numbers are accurate. There's a number of people loading and onboarding on a daily basis. And one key part to note about this is that the loop at the Jack Satter House has been, I want to say, reduced. So it's either early morning peak hours, and I believe they do not go there anymore in the weekends. So that's because for the use of that stop, it's just not generating the passengers that they
Okay,
would.
so I assume we'll move this to a public hearing. My questions are, I see up the top that removing the following stops: Revere Street at Lee, Revere Street at Stowers, Revere Street opposite Breed. Are there other stops in this area that aren't being removed? That seems like
Yes, so there's other.
most of the stops here are all on Revere Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stops being removed.
Yeah, so there are other stops along Revere Street that residents can access, and then there's also a stop being added at Revere Street at North Shore Road.
Okay.
So that's inbound, so that way, when the MBTA would not have to get into the traffic, they could pick up the people on that side of North Shore, that corner of North Shore Road without having.
Okay, so when we do have the public hearing, could you show, like on Revere Street, what stops will still exist? So
Yeah.
like Revere Street at Lee, what's the closest stop that's going to still be there? So we can see how much of a burden that is for people walking from one to the other. So if we could have what's going to be left after these are removed.
Okay, yeah, we can
Does
do that.
anyone else have any questions as to what they'd like to see? Okay. Okay. So do I have a
Mr. Chairman?
motion to move this to a public
Mr.
hearing?
Chairman, just a quick question. Is the T gonna, are they looking to come for the public hearing to make a presentation? Will they be able to,
Yeah, we can have them
and
come.
have some of this information
Yes, they
provided?
can be here for the presentation. And what I can do is I can set up a link on the community development page, where people can access this, and then also access the map of the stops so they can see where they're being eliminated, where they're being added. They can just click on the map and see. But we can have Tom from the MBTA present like he's done the last few times. I think he came in when we changed the spacing of the signs and a couple of other key bus stops here in the city.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to move this to a public hearing?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Okay,
I'll
thank
second
you.
Okay, you're welcome. Move this to a public hearing. Thank you. Number 3, that the mayor request the Traffic Commission to install stop signs facing both directions on Rice Avenue at the intersections of Delano and Whitten Ave in an effort to reduce speeding. So this would, does anyone wish to move this to a public hearing? Councillor Powers? Yeah, take your time. Excellent.
Rice Avenue is a very lengthy road, and I think a couple of stop signs at those intersections would slow the traffic down somewhat, as we do on Sagamore Street. It's, and not everybody stops.
Right.
But as long as they slow down, and I think it'll possibly down the road save someone from injury or even worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Mr. Fiore?
I support the request by the ward councillor. We've got some serious issues on Rice Avenue and on Mills Avenue as well, on the riverside of people speeding. And I would hope somewhere down the road we can revisit the discussions about speed bumps in various neighborhoods. I know it's sort of been frowned upon in the past, but times have changed and things are getting tougher, so I do support the motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to move this to a public hearing?
Motion to move to hearing.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Move that to a public hearing there, Chris. The mayor requests the Traffic Commission to establish no parking regulations on the south side of Revere Street from Sagamore Street to North Shore Road. Zach?
Zach Babo, Parking Director, Revere, 281 Broadway. I would like to table this, have a little discussion with the mayor before we go forward with this.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Motion to table?
Motion to table? Second?
Seconded.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I believe we skipped over number 4.
We skipped over, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. That the mayor request the Traffic Commission to install a stop sign on Prospect Avenue going west at the intersection of Homer Street. I know Councilor Keefe sent an email hoping that this would be moved to a public hearing. He couldn't make it here tonight. So do we have a motion to move this to a public hearing? You will? Okay, second. Thank you. And let's see. Number 9, the Commission on Disabilities requests that the Traffic Commission amend Schedule 11 of Title 10 by adding 13 Henry Street, 66 Tedford Street, 74 Victoria Street, and 104 Harris Street. Ralph isn't here tonight to speak on this, but I assume we can move this to a public hearing, and we can get his opinions that night.
Motion to move to a public hearing?
Okay, second?
I will second that.
Thank you. And the last item is a late communication from Councilor Novoselsky requesting that the Traffic Commission remove the angle parking at 1470 North Shore Road. He is requesting parallel parking from Kimball Ave to the end of 1470 North Shore Road. Is this in front of the old Stearns Hardware? Sure.
Just for the record, I went into city ordinances, and they cited a section, I think it was section XV11, 17 maybe.
Okay.
However, that was removed from the ordinances years ago.
Okay.
We can't even find the ordinance anymore that
Okay.
allows for angle parking.
Okay.
The part for angle parking is still in there. So I talked to the city clerk tonight, and she's recommending that the Traffic Commission remove the angle parking from the ordinances altogether.
Okay.
Whereas the schedule was removed years ago,
Right.
before my time, before your times,
Right.
and we didn't update the ordinance as far as the tables.
Okay, go. Okay.
All right.
So would we have to move that to a public hearing, removing all
Public hearing to remove the
angle
angle
parking?
parking section from the ordinances.
Ordinance.
I don't have the exact numbers on the top of my head. I had it written down somewhere. I
Okay.
lost them.
Do I hear a motion to remove that section from the ordinance, angle parking?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question on
Sure.
that. So this is sort of a blanket to remove angle parking generally?
Generally on any city street, which I can't off the top of my head think of any other spot that has that.
So the
Pearl Avenue a little bit, there's a few people that do that, I think, and.
Okay. The other question I had is just, with regard to North Shore Road, do we have the jurisdiction to make changes to North Shore Road?
That's a good point.
I believe that's a state Mass DOT roadway.
It is a state road, but we have permit parking down there. We also have no parking restrictions. We allowed the 15-minute parking for Stearns in the past. And this, I'm telling you, going back, way back when, we had a section in the ordinances allowing angle parking. That was removed probably about 20 years ago or so. However, the part that worded it out, how the angle parking went, was never removed.
Okay.
So technically, there is no angle parking in Revere as far as the schedule of streets and businesses on it.
So this is a housekeeping measure? Okay. Okay. All right.
So we're looking for a motion to remove the language from the
Remove
ordinance?
the language that should have been removed 20 years ago.
Make a motion to such?
Okay. So we do have to go to a public hearing? Okay. Move this to a public hearing.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you. Second? All right. I think that's it, unless I forgot anything else. Let's see here. Disability. Okay. A motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, second?
Seconded.
Thank you. We're adjourned.